Nebraska football just reversed this huge narrative. Let's talk about it. My name's Paul. Together with my buddy Aaron, we are the Big Ten guys. Tune in every day for the latest Big Ten news, insights, and analysis. If you're a fan of Nebraska football, this is the channel for you, so don't miss out. Take just a second, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. We got a lot more Nebraska content coming. I think this is going to be a very exciting offseason for the Cornhuskers, and I'm going to tell you why here in a minute. But I just kind of wanted to talk about the program and a narrative that's been going on with Nebraska for a long time that many of you, I don't know what Cornhusker Nation thinks about it right now, but if you've ever caught the show before, I'm a Michigan fan, Aaron's a Michigan State fan. We try to put our bias aside and just tell you how it is, how we see things. And I think for a lot of years, a lot of people viewed this Nebraska football team in a negative light, and I think that narrative has changed this year. Before I get going into that a little bit more, I want to hear from you guys. We always enjoy talking football, especially with Nebraska fans. You guys are like our favorite fan base. But what are you thinking after this year? Because I know in the beginning of the year, there was a lot of talk of the playoffs. I think there's reason to be disappointed and feel like this season didn't go as well as you would have liked. But I also think that this program is growing and there's big reason to be optimistic. That's just my opinion as somebody, I don't watch as much Nebraska football as I'm sure a lot of you do. I've tried to watch the majority of their games this year, but I do feel like this team is growing. And I think the fact that some of you are sitting here disappointed today in how this season went tells you that the narrative around Nebraska football really has changed. So I first just wanted to pull up, this is the last decade plus of Nebraska football. And what I want you to see is that you have to go all the way back to 2015 or 2016 to find a Nebraska team that has won 4 Big Ten games. I know you're sitting here 4-4 disappointed in that right now, but that is the best Nebraska football season in a decade. And I know, when you're hoping for playoffs and you're ranked early in the season and things are riding high, the finish, especially with that bummer of a loss to Penn State, it stinks. And I understand why you're a little bit disappointed. But I also think this team has a huge chance to finish strong. Big rivalry game against Iowa this week. I saw a tweet the other day. Somebody was talking about, Matt Rule doesn't know corn like Kirk Ferenz knows corn. And it's you guys take your corn very seriously there. I don't want to give you my perspective on corn. It'll be very uneducated. But I know it's a big game this weekend, and it's in Lincoln. That crowd's been rocking all year long. I hope the loss to Penn State doesn't discourage fans from going all in on that game. Because truthfully, if you win that game, I think this is a very successful season for Nebraska. I know when you have dark horse playoff potential, 8-4 doesn't feel super successful. But when you just take a step back and look at it, and look at the progress that has been made. I believe Matt Rule took over in 2023. So this was a team who had won 3 or 4 games the last 3 years, and he goes 5-7, 7-6, and the potential to go 9-4 this year still exists. That is significant progress every single season. And you just look at let me see. I believe this here is the bowl projections. You come down here. Last year, Nebraska was in the Pinstripe Bowl, which is projected to be Pittsburgh versus Minnesota or Pittsburgh versus Illinois, maybe. This year, you got one person suggesting the Music City Bowl versus Missouri. So that's a Missouri team who's been ranked a lot of the year. And then the other person has Nebraska, I assume, probably winning this week. And that would put them in the Las Vegas Bowl against a Utah team who's been borderline top 10. I will see where they end up in the new college football playoff rankings this year. But that's a lot of this. The fact that there are people who are yeah, this team might belong in a January bowl game against a top 15 team. Like, I think a few years ago when Matt Rule first took over for Scott Frost, a lot of you would have seen that as a big success. And like I continue to say, the fact that you're sitting here still with a chance to go 9-4, I think if you beat Iowa and win your bowl game, there's a chance you sneak into the top 25 in that final poll. And the fact that some of you are disappointed in that can tell you how much the narrative around Nebraska football has changed. And I honestly think the future is still really bright for Nebraska. Let me pull up. Like, you just look at like the main contributors on offense this year, and you got Dylan Raiola, sophomore. TJ Lateef, numbers honestly look pretty interesting to Raiola's, especially with the way he can run the ball. That's a conversation for a different day. Give me your guys' thoughts on Lateef. I've seen some highlights, seen some of the stats. I haven't gotten to watch him as much as I would like to. So if you're watching this, comment below. Let me know what you've thought of Lateef so far. But still, it's like, that's a sophomore and a freshman. Emmett Johnson is a junior. Hopefully he comes back. I mean, the guy's so talented. I think he has an NFL career in front of him, but with NIL and everything, would not surprise me at all to see him come back. Hunter and Barney are both sophomores, I believe. So like a lot of talent is coming back. And I think some people have been looking and laughing at like, oh, Nebraska is 18th in the Big Ten in recruiting right now. This is just a small blip. Like, this year is just like a one good year before the talent starts to get worse. But I think what's happening here, and I was reading an article about this, is they're intentionally not targeting a lot of guys in this class. And the guys they've gotten are pretty talented. But, like, there's just so much young talent on the team right now that what they need right now, especially with Raiola going into his junior year and some of your receivers and hopefully Emmett Johnson becoming upperclassmen or Johnson coming back for a senior year, like, this is a team that needs to win now. They don't need to bring in and spend all their NIL money on a bunch of true freshmen. They need to go and hit the portal hard and spend their NIL money on the transfer portal. And you saw that last year. This Nebraska finished above USC, Ohio State, Indiana, Michigan. Like, this was the number 2 transfer portal class in the Big Ten, behind only Oregon. And so I think you're going to see that happen again this year, is that Nebraska is going to spend big-time money in the portal and hopefully build up the offensive line more and build up that defense more. And I think this is a team that you're going to hear there's going to be a lot of noise surrounding Nebraska football next year. So Nebraska fans, hang in there. I know you're frustrated. I know, like, especially that Penn State loss, that was an ugly one. But, like, I mean, both Michigan and USC, you very easily could have won those games. Who knows if Raiola doesn't get hurt, maybe you pull out that USC game. But, like, this team is, like, there is significant growth here under Matt Rule. And I still think the future is very bright for Nebraska fans. So, you guys let me know what you think. And then don't forget, just like and subscribe on the way out.